In case you haven't heard, Nintendo Switch 2 is just around the corner.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening!
Before it's released, I want to look back at some of the best games I played on the original Switch. Now, I only started playing the Switch in December 2020, about 4 years into its life cycle, but thanks to the Switch's portability and my daily 4-hour commute to work, I've had some time to catch up. All in all, I tried about 70 games. These are my top 30. Here we go. For number 30, I'm going with Captain Toad. This game was free on Nintendo Switch Online for a week, and that was enough time for me to play through it. Really enjoyable puzzle game that reminded me a lot of Game Boy's version of Donkey Kong, which is one of my favorite Game Boy games, so definitely makes the list. For number 29, I'm going with Mega Man 11. I'm a huge Mega Man fan than I was when I was growing up. This game tried to spice things up a lot with the series, with the gear system, and the music I just wish was a little bit more like epic and dynamic like the old soundtracks, but other than that, it's still a good game. For number 28, I'm going with The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I really got into Zelda in the last few years, and I played a bunch of the harder games before I played this one. So I appreciate the interesting twist that it had in terms of the gameplay and how you got to be Zelda for once, but it felt really easy compared to the older ones. For 27, I will go with Guaca Melee. I really don't remember if I liked the first one or the second one better, but either one of them could have been in the spot. I really wasn't expecting much going into this, but the combination of wrestling with a Metroidvania works somehow, and it's awesome. Number 26, Axiom Verge. It's retro looking, dystopian. It's a Metroidvania. I figured it would be like Super Metroid or something else I've played already, but it really does bring a lot of new stuff to the genre and subverts expectations in a lot of cool ways. 25, Rocket League. I loved this game right out of the gate. I played it a lot when I first got my Switch. It wound up being the game I downloaded and deleted about 5 times because playing online with strangers on your team and against you kind of drove me a little nuts. So I love it, but also, yeah, I had to move on. 24, Enter the Gungeon. I loved the intensity of this game, the game references, the graphics, the characters. I sometimes got fed up with how crazy unfair it can feel at times. I did manage to kill all of the past of each of the characters and get to the final boss, I think, the final boss, but I had to move on. 23, Inside. It almost feels like an art project or a student film of some sort. It's short, it's compelling, it's a puzzle game, it's got really memorable storylines and storytelling, but it's just kind of a minimalistic package. It's really quick, but it's awesome. For 22, I will take Huntdown. It's entertaining, it's action-packed, side-scrolling shooter. Reminds me a lot of games I love. Fun characters, fun story, just a win. For number 21, I'll go with The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I know this is a remake, but it didn't really feel like a remake to me because I never played the original for Game Boy. It was an enjoyable adventure with Link with a unique art style that helped solidify my Zelda fandom when I was just kind of getting into the series. Number 20, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. There's so many games in this one package. There's the original Shovel Knight, which was a nice treat to play through, Plague of Shadows, Spectre of Torment, King of Cards. There's even a Smash Brothers type game in there thrown in. I was surprised how much I liked King of Cards and how much I liked the card playing elements of that. That was not expected. 19, Katana Zero. I picked this up on eBay, like a digital version of the game, for so cheap. I had little to no expectations. It turned out to be a top 20 game on my list. It's a compelling story, dark dystopian atmosphere, has a combat style I've never seen in a game before, and it makes it work with the story so well. It just needs that DLC to finish up the story. 18, Ori and the Blind Forest. I don't have a ton to say about this game. It's a very good Metroidvania. It's beautiful. It has a beautiful storyline, fun gameplay, and I associate it now with the sequel, which I am going to rank higher. Spoiler alert. 17, Hollow Knight. I bought this game, played it for about 20 minutes, and I moved on to something else. A year later, I gave it more time and I got sucked in. Unique art style, sound, overall very good Metroidvania with really memorable moments and really difficult parts. 16, Tropical Freeze. Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii, I think, was one of the best Wii games that I played, and this game just kind of takes that and just adds more characters and other features. It's got to be high on my list for those reasons. 15, Dead Cells. My first attempt at one of these modern roguelike games that have become so popular. The game starts off tough as nails. The runs are thrilling as you try not to make one bad move and throw it all away. I got sucked in by the lore of this game. The story felt like it left something on the table, but it really got fleshed out with the DLC. 14, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I thought it was solid on the first playthrough, and I got back into it when the DLC characters and tracks got released. I didn't really start enjoying it a lot until I started playing the faster modes. Probably the biggest, best, and most comprehensive Mario Kart until Mario Kart World comes out. 13. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. 3D World was such an enjoyable game to play through. Bowser's Fury was a fun and interesting spin on a typical Mario formula. The cat and mouse gameplay, running from Bowser until you literally become a huge cat yourself and have a Godzilla-style fight. The package deal of both of those was really awesome. 12. Super Mario Odyssey. When I first picked up Odyssey, I had just finished playing Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 on the Wii for the first time. Those games blew my mind a little with their expansive world, music, and the way they utilized the Wii controllers. Odyssey had a really tough act to follow, but it's still a top-tier 3D Mario game that brings a lot of new ideas and game mechanics to the franchise. 11. Metroid Dread. The first 2D Metroid in over 20 years. The first one on a home console in like 30 years. Metroid 5 was a welcome treat. It took many elements of the classic Metroid games and modernized them, and also added new mechanics and a new story loaded with thrilling, tense moments and gameplay. 10. Cuphead. A game I always wanted to play and finally got the chance to with the Switch. The graphics and music are so unique. The game is so challenging in the right kind of way. As a fan of Mega Man and Contra, the game felt familiar and fresh at the same time. The DLC was also very good and inspired me to go back and 100% the whole game. Number 9. The Messenger. I was already intrigued by its critical acclaim from reviews I read. I was not expecting the phenomenal soundtrack, the humor, the, spoiler alert, switch from 8-bit to 16-bit, and the surprising way that's all woven together into this story. 8. Streets of Rage 4. Possibly the best beat-em-up game I've ever played. It's a pretty short game on the surface, but the various game modes, unlockables, and DLC open up possibilities for lots of replays. Streets of Rage 2 might be the most iconic game of the series and was probably more impactful to the era in which it was released. Remake was epic, but it was, unofficial and fan-made. With its combat system, music, new characters, new modes, new artistic direction, this one brought back the series in a big way. 7. Celeste. When I was new to the Switch, I researched a few game recommendations. Celeste caught my eye immediately with its retro graphical style. It wound up being so much more with its unique gameplay and story that intertwine so seamlessly with each other. I don't know if I'll ever see the 100% ending unless I look it up online, but the main game is still so good and ranked so highly. 6. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. Excellent Metroidvania with possibly the most profound and gut-wrenching story I've ever experienced in a game. Thanks a lot for the rain of tears on the train that day. 5. Portal Companion Collection. Never played Portal until I got this. I kept reading that the Portal games are some all-time greats. They did not disappoint. First Portal is a pretty short game, but still very groundbreaking and iconic with its gameplay and its story. The sequel turned out to be like 10 times as big and awesome as the first one. They both come in a digital collection that goes on sale for as low as $10 sometimes. That's just a crazy deal to me. 4. Hades. I started playing a few roguelikes during my time with the Switch. Hades is easily the best one. It takes the genre to another level with its world, story, art design, characters, etc. It's been in my top 5 ever since I picked it up. It's just that good. 3. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everything about this game to me feels epic. The opening credits, the menu music, the intros and endings of each fight, and of course the expansive roster of iconic game characters. It almost feels like a playable museum and tribute to gaming history that also happens to be incredibly fun. There's something for everyone in this game, and it can be as simple or as complex as you want. In my mind, it's the best, most definitive Smash Bros. To date. Number 2 and number 1, they're tied. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. These games are hard for me to decide between. Breath of the Wild probably has the better, more complete story that works on its own from start to finish. It was also such a huge leap for the franchise and a huge moment in gaming. Tears of the Kingdom is a way bigger game that vastly expands the world of Breath of the Wild and the player's capabilities. To me, both games go hand in hand and are interchangeably the best games on Switch. As I made this list, I found that my rankings have changed a lot over time. I think that change will likely continue. There's also a pretty long list of games that didn't make the cut for different reasons, whether I just started playing them or I just didn't stick with them. I'll try to share that too. Either way, it was fun to look back at all the good times. It actually made me want to go back and play some of these games again. It's good to know that most of these titles will be available for the Switch too after all. Looking forward to the new Switch. Maybe at some point I'll get it and bring it with me on the train. So what were your top Switch titles? Let me know in the comments.